Welcome along to the overview for the Canterbury Classic Triathlon and Duathlon. We'll do a separate briefing for the aquathon events, and you need to understand that this is an overview. All the detailed information around the event, course and so on can be found in the race manual, which is located on the event website. Your first task on race weekend will be to pick up your registration pack, which will be at the Waltham swimming pool in the Canterbury Triathlon club rooms, which you just turn right once you come through the main doors. Here you'll get a simple race pack. It will contain a race bib number. You're to wear this during the run leg. It's optional if you wear it during the swim or the bike legs. You'll also receive a sticker set. As you can see here, there are a number of stickers that are clearly labelled. There's two for your helmet, one to go on the front, one to go on the side. There is also a sticker that goes around your bike seat post, and another for a bag if you wish to leave a bag in the bag drop area next to transition. You'll also receive a swim cap that must be worn during the swim leg, but you are welcome to use previous year's swim caps as long as they match the colour for this year. And finally, you'll receive a timing chip and a strap to go around your ankle. If you haven't used one of these before, please make sure that you do fasten the chip onto the strap. There are instructions on the envelope that you'll receive. We have had incidents where people have just put the strap on without the timing chip, so read the instructions on the envelope if you're at all unsure. When it comes to parking, there are a couple of options. First, if you are one of the early ones there, you will be able to park in the lower car park at CORSAIR Bay. You do need to understand if you park there, you will not be able to leave until at least 11 AM in the morning, because we'll have athletes coming in and out of CORSAIR Bay. So if you are doing the short course, or if you're doing one of the kids races, we would encourage you not to park there unless you're happy to wait until 11 AM. Alternatively, you can park down in Cass Bay, or you could park down in Naval Point. Both those options require you to walk back around to CORSAIR Bay. Please do not park on the bike or the run course, as we have really tight roads and it will make the traffic jam up behind and make it unsafe for the athletes racing. So three options: either CORSAIR Bay if you're early, down in Cass Bay, or down in Naval Point. If you're doing the triathlon option, the first leg is the swim. As you can see in this map here, we have two different courses. If you're doing the Olympic race, you'll be doing 3 laps following the black lines going around the yellow buoys. If you are doing the short course race, you'll be doing 1 lap following the blue lines going around the orange buoys. The swim start will be in approximately knee depth water on the beach, and when you do run up to the transition, we will have an area where you can choose to leave some shoes if you want to wear some shoes or jandals running up to transition, which is up a hill and it's quite challenging. For those doing the duathlon, you'll be starting on the grass area behind the beach. You'll be running along the track a short distance, then make a hard left-hand turn to join onto the short lap. You'll then run up through the 2 car parks past transition, and then you will proceed to do the number of laps required. If you're doing the Olympic distance, you'll be doing 2 laps of the short lap, and if you are doing the short course duathlon, you'll be doing 1 lap. You'll then merge with the triathletes, enter into the transition area and follow the same course for the rest of the event. When you come up to the first transition, it will look something like we see in this image here, and when it comes to the actual map of the area, if you'll be looking for the blue line here, that will be the entry point from either the swim or the first duathlon run. So you'll be entering in where the blue line is, you'll be running through the transition area and grabbing your bike, and then if you look at the top left hand corner, you'll see the bike exit point. You'll be exiting at that point there, going down to the mountain line, running your bike to the mountain line. Once you are over the mountain line, then you can get onto your bike. We encourage you to be in your easiest gear possible to actually make it up the hill. It is a steep climb when you turn left to go up the access road out of CORSAIR Bay. So familiarise yourself with this transition. You're following that blue line as your entry point, and then the red line as your exit point when you go off on your bike. Next up is the bike leg. We've got 2 different courses there, the short and the long. This is the map of the Olympic distance race. Really straightforward course in terms of directions. On the way out, you are just literally following the road. There is one intersection you'll come to at the bottom of Dyers Pass. Here you'll need to turn left to go into Governor's Bay. You'll then carry on that road all the way to the turn point at Orton Bradley Park. As you can see by this course profile here, it is a very hilly course, very up and down, and there are some corners where you'll need to exercise your best judgment in order to stay upright. This is what the bike turn will look like at Orton Bradley Park. You'll literally turn around the cones, follow the instructions of the marshals, checking for traffic, the roads are not closed, and then turning around and following the same track on the way back. On the return leg, you do need to make one turn to follow your route back to CORSAIR Bay. That's a right-hand turn at the bottom of Dyers Pass Road. So you'll be coming through Governor's Bay, go past the Governor's Bay pub, and shortly after that you'll be making a right-hand turn. There'll be traffic management and control there, and marshals. You will likely need to give way, so treat the roads like there is no road closure, which there isn't, and make that right hand turn, and then for the final leg back to CORSAIR Bay is around about 6 kilometres or so. Short course race is just an abbreviated version of the Olympic distance race. You are coming out of CORSAIR Bay, turning left and following the lumpy road along to Governor's Bay. Your turnaround point is at the bottom of Dyers Pass Road. You will be catching up to some of the Olympic distance athletes depending on your speed, so we need to be aware of where this turn is, and we need to make sure that Olympic distance athletes do not turn here. So at the bottom of Dyers Pass you'll be turning around, coming back the same way you came. You will have different coloured bibs whether you're doing the Olympic or the sprint distance race, so make sure if you're Olympic you don't turn at this point. If you're short course, you check for traffic and you turn when it is safe to do so, and there will be marshals at this turn point. When it comes to transition 2, going from the bike to the run leg, you need to turn right to head into CORSAIR Bay. There'll be marshals there. You need to come down this hill extremely slowly, and it is a no pass zone, so you're not allowed to pass anybody coming down the hill. You need to be ready to get off your bike. We have crashes and near crashes pretty much every year at the dismount line, so slow right down. There'll be signs where you dismount and get off your bike, and then be very clear on the way you come into transition. So you can see in this map here, you'll be coming down the hill on the red line, and you'll dismount your bike at the dismount line. You'll re-rack your bike wherever you picked it up from. These bike racks will be numbered, and then please note where the run exit point is. It's at the left hand end of this transition, so you're kind of running away from what the direction it feels natural, and you're pulling a U-turn, and you essentially be running down the finish chute to exit transition. When you get to the end of the chute, you'll be turning left and you'll be heading back up the hill towards the main road, and there will be a line of cones. You need to stay outside so you do not crash into anybody who is coming down the hill on their bike. So really important to familiarize yourself with this map. You'll see on the right hand side when you come through for your laps for the run, you'll be running up the hill and past transition, keeping it on your left and staying inside the line of cones. Final leg of the race is the run leg, and the most important thing here is you know how many laps you're doing and which laps you're doing. As you can see here, if you're doing the short course race, you're literally doing 2 short laps, so you're not doing the long lap whatsoever. If you're doing the Olympic distance race, you're doing 2 long laps first and 1 short lap to finish. So there'll be that intersection point where the short and long lap decision needs to be made. There'll be a marshal there, there'll be a sign there. The marshal will know how many laps you're supposed to do, but they will not know which lap you are on. So please make sure you know your laps. We've had people made errors before, and they unfortunately need to be disqualified for not completing the right number of laps. So that decision point is around 800 metres into the lap. You'll come up out of CORSAIR Bay, turn right, run along the footpath. You need to stay on the footpath, and there will be some white gates and a marshal at the point where you need to either turn right to go down the shingle access road onto the tracks for a short lap, or you carry on straight to do your long lap. So you can see very clearly labelled in this diagram here where that point is, where the big yellow line is pointing to. As I said, at that point there is a white gate which leads onto a shingle access road. There'll be a marshal there and a sign. So for the long lap, you come up out of transition, turn right onto the footpath heading towards Littleton. You need to stay on the footpath at all times. When you come to the first intersection, which is Volas Terrace, you'll be turning right to go down a sharp downhill, again staying on the footpath. When you get to the bottom of that hill, which is in the top right hand corner of this image, you'll be making another right hand turn and staying on that footpath for as long as you can. The footpath does run out. Once that happens, you need to stay on the right hand side of the road, staying inside the cones. You'll be then running down towards the petrol tankers, as you can see in this image here. When you get to the playing fields, you'll be turning right, running along that road, again staying to the right hand side of any cones that are along that road, and then you'll be veering right to go into the shingle car park for the Naval Point Yacht Club. You'll be running through that car park, and then you'll be turning right to get onto the track that will take you back around to CORSAIR Bay. You'll follow that track all the way around to CORSAIR Bay. As you come into the bay, you'll be veering right to take a smaller path that will take you back up to the lower car park. You'll run through the lower car park and up to the top car park, and then carry on with whatever you're doing for the rest of the race, whether it's another lap or whether you're turning into the finish area. For the short lap, you start off in the same way, up the hill out of transition, turning right along the footpath, running along until you hit that first marshal at the white gates where there's a sign saying short lap or long lap. There you'll be turning right, going down a fairly steep shingle access point. At the bottom of that hill, you will merge onto the pathway that is coming around from Naval Point and taking the same route back around to CORSAIR Bay, veering right to take you up into the lower car park and then the top car park, and again carry on either for another lap or turn into the finishing chute. There will be an aid station as you come back into CORSAIR Bay by the lower car park, and if the day is a warm one, we will have another aid station by the Naval Point Yacht Club. Probably the most important rule on the run course is you cannot have any music devices in your ears. The same applies for the bike leg, but especially on the run, as we sometimes have some issues with this. It's for your safety, also for the safety of other athletes, and being awareness of your surrounds at all times. If you're doing the aquabike option, this is the swim and bike only. Your race will terminate when you enter the transition at the end of the bike leg. You are welcome to then exit transition and run down the finishing chute, but your finish time will actually be on the entry point into transition at the end of the bike leg. If you are doing a team in any of the events, your changeover point is at the bike rack, meaning that your cyclist is standing by their bike when the swimmer or runner comes in from the first leg. You tag hands, or actually you change over your timing chips and tag hands, and then the cyclist goes off and does their leg. When they come in and they're changing over to the runner is waiting at the bike racks, and you will again rack your bike and change that timing chip over. The runner will be wearing the bib number on the run. The swimmer, if there is a swimmer, does not need anything other than the timing chip, and the cyclist will have all the stickers from the sticker sheet. There are some really key rules for this event. The first one being that the roads are not closed to traffic, so you must obey the New Zealand Road Code. You cannot have any assistance during the race. There is definitely no portable music or listening devices of any kind allowed at any stage when you are racing, and we run this event under Triathlon New Zealand, which means we are bound by Drug-Free Sport New Zealand and the rules relating to prohibited substances. The swim is pretty straightforward. You cannot wear any fins or other flotation devices. Wetsuits are optional but encouraged. On the bike leg, there is no drafting. That means you need to leave a gap between yourself and the rider in front. That gap needs to be a box of 10 by 3 meters from the front wheel of the athlete in front to the leading wheel of the rider behind. So you're not allowed to draft at all. If you need to pass, you've got 20 seconds to do that. Once you are passed, you need to drop out of that draft zone. Crossing the centre line is an automatic disqualification, no exceptions, no questions asked. You simply cannot do it. So even if you have to pass a car, unfortunately you just have to wait. There'll be a penalty box for any infringements in the transition area, which you'll serve at the end of the bike leg. The drafting penalty for the Olympic distance is a 2-minute stand down and a 1 minute for the short course. And main rule on the run is you cannot cut any corners or run on the road unless you're directed to do so. So there are some sections where there isn't a footpath, but wherever there is a footpath you need to run on that. These events do not help without volunteers. We have a huge number out there at all of our events, so please give them a thanks, give them a high five, buy them a coffee, do something for our volunteers, because without them we simply would not have events. We will have a small prize giving. This is very much a grassroots event, so refer to the race manual and pre-race instructions as to what that will look like. Other than that, have a fantastic race out there. It's a brilliant course, one of the few tough courses remaining in New Zealand and one of the few Olympic distance options out there. So have a great race, and please refer to the race manual if you've got any questions, or pop us an email. This event is run by the Canterbury Triathlon Club. Without the club, we would not have a sport locally. How you can support our sport is to literally join up to the club. You'll get discounts on races. There is various training sessions you can join, but over and above everything, it is a way of you supporting our sport and ensuring we have events going forward. So go to canterburytriclub.co.nz, check it out, join up, and we've still got other races this season you can partake in, as well as our winter duathlon series. So please support the club to make sure these events keep happening.